Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and Honchkrow looks like a pimp. I mean, that guy is just so much swag, looks so cool. And it's a very dangerous Pokemon as well because of its Moxie ability. So if we kind of look at this moveset, this is generally what a lot of people like running on Honchkrow. It's pretty strong because the idea is you bring it in as a revenge killer. You go for that Brave Bird, Sucker Punch, Superpower, whatever you can do to score that KO. And then the Moxie starts working in your favor. Now, Pokemon's attack is boosted by 1 if it feints another Pokemon. So you switch it on something low, they either have to switch out and take free damage and then maybe even get picked off on their new Pokemon, or they just have to take the hit with that and now you're ready to go. And your Life Orb is going to make you have a lot more damage. Your Health Bulk makes it to where you can endure 1 or 2 hits to make this happen. Like, even if you don't have too much of an opportunity, you're really hard to one-hit KO unless it's something super effective because of that high hit points, and even then you still have a decent chance of survival. After that, you go for that first Moxie and you try to Sucker Punch your opponents down, because that's how it works. And if you can outspeed your opponent, you have access to Brave Bird and Superpower. You also have Haze just to kind of disrupt a lot of your opponent's momentum if they've been doing a lot of really high stat up shenanigans. I just like having Haze because this could be a really good Pokemon to integrate Haze in without trying to force it onto anything on your team. And with Superpower, it does lower the user's attack and defense by 1. But if you already have that 1 Moxie boost in your favor, it really works out because you're always going to stay at perpetual +1. Say Brave Bird, Sucker Punch, you get that +1. Now that you use Superpower, it lowers, but you score the KO, so it goes back up. And that's 120 base power fighting type move, so if you have the opportunity to use it, take it. It'll do a lot of damage. Now, this is kind of how you want to run it. Some people also put Roost instead of Haze, because if you're not taking too much damage, you can Roost up, Brave Bird, Roost up, Brave Bird, depending on how your opponent is playing it. Life Orb, probably one of your better options on this moveset. You can't really do much with the speed. If you want to Scarf, you kind of have to change the whole dynamic of the Pokemon, and let's go look at that now. So to run Choice Scarf, I recommend a Jolly Nature just because without the Jolly Nature, you're only up to about 360 speed with the Scarf, which means you can get outsped by other Scarfers, Greninja. A lot of Pokemon will have an edge on you just from speed. So going with that Jolly Nature, putting you up into 400 speed, that's a lot better. Now when we're also looking at the attack, it's still really high, about 350 with that 252 EV investment, so pretty good. Now, when you're Scarfing, though, you also can't have Sucker Punch, because if your opponent understands that you're Scarfed into a Sucker Punch, your game is over. Well, I don't know why Natural Gift is here, honestly. I just kind of filled that one in. So we have Night Slash, high critical hit ratio, decent base power. It's just kind of one of those things because since Honchkrow doesn't get knockoff, you can't use it, which is unfortunate, because knockoff is kind of the new Night Slash for Pokemon that can learn it. So, Night Slash, the idea here is, again, pick off your opponent's Pokemon, get that Moxie boost going. Now you have a decent stab move with that 50% extra damage, and you just start trying to slash into your opponent. Same with Brave Bird. Brave Bird, if you can score that fast KO and then get a Moxie boost with Brave Bird, you're going to be able to score another KO, and then that means Scarf Honchkrow has a good chance of being a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 Pokemon, knocking out a lot of your opponent's Pokemon if they just fall to that Brave Bird. If they're weak against it, it's going to work. Superpower, not the most favorable option, but it's just nice to have the coverage because if you kind of go through the moves, there's really not much else you can kind of put onto him that really works because the physical move pool isn't that high. You can have Pursuit if you think that they're going to switch out and then try to hurt them. The physical aspects of it make it really hard to try to run this guy as a Choice Scarfer. But if you really are just content with running Brave Bird, Night Slash, and trying to use that Moxie boost, that works. Also, I just wanted to bring up the point that Honchkrow does have Insomnia. Insomnia is an ability that isn't used that often, but this Pokemon actually uses it very well. That as a flying type Pokemon, it naturally just destroys Spore users. So I mean, they don't know you have Insomnia, and they bring in Amoonguss, they bring in Breloom, they bring in any Pokemon with Sleep Powder. They waste their turn, you get a Brave Bird, boom, while you don't get the Moxie, it could be just a good pivot Pokemon that instead of playing it like a pure offensive attacker, you can have your Roost here, you can have your Haze, just try to really bring it in as an intermediate, like mid-game Pokemon, then you just have Brave Bird to start chipping in some damage, something like that, and that can work pretty well. Maybe even Confuse Ray just to buy yourself some extra time, and you could play it a lot more, defensively. Now, since its defenses aren't the best, maybe even trying some kind of crazy split to give you some form of survival with that high hit point bulk, but still have a lot of damage to where you're not totally useless in that front. So you can run maybe something like that, maybe just kind of split it however you feel is necessary to give yourself some bulk, but it can just be a good Pokemon that I could see this working in 3v3 singles really well, or maybe even doubles, because if you know your opponent, you can look at your opponent's team. If you see a Breloom on it, you see an Amoonguss on it, most likely they're going to bring it. Or some Pokemon that can put Pokemon to sleep. You just kind of, you switch in this Pokemon for it, and you're not committed to it because you're choosing 3 of 6 or 4 of 6. And it could be a nice little Pokemon, as a support that can really mess your opponent up. So that could be really fun right there. Now, that's what I've got for Honchkrow. Got 2 offensive sets and a support set because I try to come up with something crazy, and I see this actually working if they have sleep. If not, oh well. But Haze is also a really nice move just to have anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all, as always, have a nice day. Thanks for watching.